What if everything we thought we understood about Fromland is completely wrong? What if episode 10 isn't just another finale, but the moment the entire mystery turns upside down? The trailer is packed with clues that most fans completely missed, and some of them could reveal the true purpose of the town, the monsters, and even the mysterious force controlling everything from the shadows. The storm is coming. The rules are changing. And if the trailer is telling us the truth, then someone may finally discover a secret that has been hidden since the very beginning. So buckle up, because this episode 10 trailer breakdown might completely change the way you see From. The first thing we need to talk about is the storm. Because honestly, I don't think this is just bad weather. The trailer goes out of its way to show us red lightning, violent winds, and what looks like the entire town shaking apart. And whenever this show focuses on something so heavily, it usually means there is a deeper meaning behind it. Think about it. We have seen strange weather before, but never on this scale. This feels different. It feels intentional, almost like something is waking up. One theory that immediately came to my mind is that the storm isn't a natural event at all. What if it is a reaction? What if the town itself is responding to what happened at the end of episode 9? The characters dug beneath the bottle tree. They uncovered the bones. They disturbed something that may have been buried for centuries. And what if that act triggered a chain reaction throughout the entire system that controls the town? We've always assumed the bottle tree was simply a transportation device, a magical object that allowed people to move between locations. But what if its true purpose was much more important than that? What if the tree was actually acting as a seal, a lock, a barrier, something designed to keep a greater evil trapped underground? If that's true, then digging beneath it may have done far more damage than anyone realizes. The trailer repeatedly cuts between the storm and the terrified expressions of the townspeople. That could be the show's way of telling us that these events are connected. The storm isn't happening by coincidence. The storm is happening because someone opened a door that should have remained closed. And this brings us to one of the most interesting details in the entire trailer. The monsters seem unusually confident. Normally they hunt. They stalk. They play games with their victims. But in these scenes, they appear focused. Almost purposeful. It's as if they know something is about to happen. It's as if they have been waiting for this moment. Could it be that the monsters are not the true villains of the story? I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. What if the monsters are actually servants? What if they answer to something much larger? For years, many fans have believed that there is a higher power controlling everything behind the scenes. We've seen symbols. We've seen visions. We've seen impossible events that the monsters alone cannot explain. And now the red lightning appears at exactly the moment the town's foundations begin to collapse. That cannot be a coincidence. In fact, the trailer may be hinting that the real enemy is finally making its move. Remember the strange drawings from the caves? Remember the mysterious figures connected to the town's ancient history? There has always been evidence that something older and far more powerful exists behind everything we've seen. The monsters may simply be the first layer, the first defense, the first nightmare. But episode 10 could introduce the force that created them in the first place. Now let's talk about Boyd, because there is something very interesting happening with him throughout the trailer. We hear him speaking with determination, but we also hear something else. Fear. For one of the first times in the series, Boyd looks like a man who knows he may be completely out of options. And that's important because Boyd is usually the character who keeps everyone moving forward. Even when things are impossible, he finds a way to keep fighting. But the trailer suggests that this situation may be different. When leaders begin losing hope, it usually means the threat they're facing is unlike anything they've encountered before. And if Boyd is worried, then we should probably be worried too. One possibility is that the talismans have stopped working. Now before you dismiss that idea, think about how much attention the show has been giving the talismans recently. Whenever a mystery series repeatedly focuses on an object, it usually means that object is about to become important. What if the protection was never permanent? What if it depended on something hidden beneath the town? Maybe the bones. Maybe the tree. Maybe something we haven't even discovered yet. If that source has been disrupted, then every safe place in town could suddenly become vulnerable. And if the talismans fail, then nowhere is safe anymore. Not the houses. Not Colony House. Not the clinic. Nowhere. Which would instantly raise the stakes higher than they've ever been before. And honestly, that feels exactly like the kind of disaster a season finale would deliver. Because episode 10 doesn't feel like it's building toward answers. It feels like it's building toward chaos. And the scariest part is that the trailer may only be showing us the beginning. Now let's talk about the scene that has probably created more theories than anything else in the trailer. I'm talking about Jade and Tabitha. The trailer makes it very clear that they are at the center of whatever happens next. In fact, if you pay close attention, almost every major mystery seems to connect back to them in one way or another. And honestly, I don't think that's an accident. For multiple seasons now, the show has been slowly linking Jade and Tabitha to the town's past. They keep experiencing visions. They keep uncovering clues. And somehow they always seem to end up closer to the truth than everyone else. The question is why? Why these two specifically? What makes them different? One possibility is that they aren't simply discovering the mystery. What if they are actually part of it? Think about everything we've learned so far. The town appears to operate in cycles. Certain events repeat themselves. Certain people seem connected across different periods of time. And there are countless hints suggesting that history keeps repeating itself. But what if those cycles are much more literal than we think? What if Jade and Tabitha have lived through this before? Not metaphorically. Not symbolically. Literally. The trailer seems to hint that they are getting closer to recovering memories that were somehow lost or hidden. And if that's true, then episode 10 could finally reveal who they originally were. Imagine how shocking it would be if they discovered that they weren't newcomers to the town at all. Imagine if they learned that they had been part of the very first cycle. Suddenly, everything would make sense. Their visions, their connections, their ability to find clues nobody else can see. Because they wouldn't be uncovering new information. They would be remembering old information. And that possibility becomes even more interesting when we look at Jade's dialogue in the trailer. At one point, he appears to be speaking directly to Tabitha about finishing something and breaking the cycle. That choice of words feels incredibly important. Notice that he doesn't talk about escaping. He doesn't talk about surviving. He talks about ending the cycle. Almost as if he finally understands how the system works. And if Jade truly discovers the secret behind the cycles, then he immediately becomes one of the most dangerous people in the entire town. Not dangerous to the survivors. Dangerous to whatever force is controlling everything. Because secrets are power. And in a place built entirely on mystery, knowledge might be the most powerful weapon anyone can possess. This is why I think Jade may be heading toward a major sacrifice. Now before anyone panics, I'm not saying he is definitely going to die. But the trailer feels like it's preparing us emotionally for something huge. Throughout the series, Jade has transformed more than almost any other character. He started as someone who only cared about himself. But little by little, he became someone willing to risk everything for other people. That's exactly the kind of character arc that often leads to a heroic sacrifice, especially in a season finale. Imagine this scenario. Jade and Tabitha finally uncover the truth. They finally learn how to stop the cycle. But there is a cost. Someone has to stay behind. Someone has to hold the door. Someone has to face whatever evil has been released. And Jade chooses himself. Not because he wants to die, but because he finally understands that saving everyone else matters more. Wouldn't that be the perfect conclusion to his character journey? And if that happens, it could create one of the most emotional moments the series has ever delivered. But there is another possibility that might be even crazier. What if the town doesn't want Jade dead? What if it needs him alive? This is something I don't think enough people are talking about. We've always assumed the monsters simply want to kill people. But what if that isn't their true objective? What if certain individuals are more valuable alive than dead? Think about it. Jade possesses information. He understands symbols. He sees visions. He may even have a connection to the original creators of the town. If you're an ancient force trying to preserve a cycle, would you immediately kill someone like that? Or would you try to use them? The trailer's editing may actually support this idea. Notice how the scenes involving Jade feel strangely different from the scenes involving the rest of the town. There is a sense that something bigger is happening around him, almost like he's moving toward a destiny he cannot avoid. And then we have Tabitha. If Jade is the character closest to understanding the mystery, then Tabitha may be the character closest to changing it. Ever since she escaped and returned, she has occupied a unique position within the story. She has seen both worlds. She has experienced things nobody else has. And because of that, she may hold the key to breaking whatever loop has trapped everyone for so long. But here's the terrifying possibility. What if breaking the cycle doesn't save everyone? What if ending the cycle comes with consequences nobody expects? The show has repeatedly taught us that every answer creates new questions. Every victory comes with a cost. Every solution creates a new problem. So what if destroying the town also destroys the people trapped inside it? What if freedom and survival are no longer the same thing? That would explain why the trailer feels so desperate. Why everyone looks terrified. Why even the characters closest to the truth seem uncertain about what comes next. Because they may finally be approaching the answer they've been searching for. And the answer may be far worse than the mystery itself. And if that's true, then episode 10 isn't just about escaping from land. It's about deciding what price they're willing to pay to end the nightmare once and for all.